Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm gonna give you guys a chance to get into the conversation. We're going to have a discussion today, and it's a discussion about decency and how do you hold somebody accountable? To what extent should they be held accountable if they confess to doing things that we know are egregious? And the topic of the conversation or the subject of the discussion is a rapper by the name of Cardi B. Many of you all know Cardi B. And I'll tell you more about it in a second. But before we begin, I want to say hello to my special guest today, Miss Nomalanga Mushali Moses. Nomalanga is she, among other things, she's a college professor. She was Mrs. Botswana 2012, I believe. She runs her own business. And I want to ask Nomalanga, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, boys. How are you?
Doing very well, very well. And also Nomalanga is chiming in all the way from Botswana. So that's just a little tidbit, a little fact. I've been to visit that country. It's a beautiful place and wonderful people. So Nomalanga, let me first start off by asking you this, and everybody in here who's here, shout out your city. Number one, shout out your city. Let us know where you're from. And also feel free to chime in with your conversation on Cardi B, and make sure you hit the like button. Everybody hit the like button right now. Subscribe, share, all that stuff so we can tell more people about the conversation. So Noma, I want to ask you this. Did you hear what happened, with Cardi B and her confession?
I heard what happened with Cardi B. And the main thing is that she drugged men that she was sleeping with and took their money. That's the main thing, right?
Yeah.
But it started getting more elaborate, where she started trying to justify it. Then there was a question of, is she a rapist? And it was just getting, the conversation started getting broader and broader. And are the Me Too people going to come after her? And, she said she didn't have any other option. And people were saying, you have all these other options. So the conversation got broader and broader.
Okay, so Cardi B, in case you guys don't know, Cardi B went on to Instagram, where she loves to do her thing. She loves to do a lot of talking, and one of the things she was talking about, it's probably something that she regrets now. She was actually talking about setting men up for robbery and all other forms of violations, some of which were sexual violations. And what I'm going to do, Noma, is I'm going to actually share my screen. It's on Instagram. It's my Instagram is the Real Boyce Watkins. And you guys can go check it out if you want to see it. I'm gonna play this video for you, Nomalanga, and everybody else who's watching. You guys can kind of hear. If you actually want to see what's on the screen, just go to drboycetv.com. That's drboycetv.com, and you can actually see the video itself. But I'm gonna play this. This is Cardi B in a hair bonnet, basically snitching on herself. Here it goes.
You wanna fuck me? Yeah. Let's go to this hotel and I drunk niggas up and I'll rock. We're gonna get drunk. I'm gonna get him all perked up and everything. We're gonna have a good time. Get him super twisted.
They are fucking niggas around. They giving niggas some shit that ain't even what you think.
Get him super twisted. Then bring a bitch around. We're gonna have a threesome.
You fuck around, wake up tomorrow, shit, ass nigga with a footy on. I don't know what the fuck you just did.
Okay, so I don't know if you guys saw that. I hope you guys saw that. Tell me what you think. Let us know if you thought. Now, you heard Cardi B in this video basically talking about using drugs, either voluntarily or involuntarily. Getting men to consume drugs, and then using that as an opportunity to take advantage of them, which sounds a lot like Bill Cosby. And it doesn't just sound like she was robbing them. It also sounds like she would set them up for a threesome, and there would be a transvestite, and the man would wake up and find out that he slept with a transvestite, or maybe that the transvestite raped him while he was asleep. That's one of the things that that people have talked about and kind of alleged, because I guess the transvestites have the I don't know all the LGBT terms. I ain't gonna lie. Like they've added 4 or 5 letters to the LGBT. It used to be LGBTQ, and then after the Q, I lost the rest. The rest is A, B, C, D, E, F, G, whatever. Right? I don't know. But basically, they were talking about rape. Like, I mean, they were literally talking about rape, like talking about waking up. A man said you might wake up, you'll be sore, your butt would be sore, and you don't know what happened, you don't know who to tell, etc. What are your thoughts on that, Nomalanga?
See, when I originally heard the story and reacted to it, I was very firm about the fact that Cardi B is not a rapist. And I didn't like that they were comparing her to Bill Cosby, because I said, well, Bill Cosby drugged women intending to have sex with them that they didn't intend to have. And that's why he drugged them, right? Or they didn't have the choice to change their mind. And obviously we're all speculating because we will never know what happened in those rooms. And then I said, well, it's kind of like with R. Kelly, where people kept saying he was a pedophile. And I was like, R. Kelly's not a pedophile. He's a predator, but he's not a pedophile. He never slept with 5, 6, 7, 8-year-old girls. Granted, the girls were young, too young, but it was still not pedophilia because they were 13 up and most of them were actually 17, you see? So it's different. So with Cardi B, I drew that parallel, like just as much as R. Kelly is not a pedophile and he is a predator, she's not a rapist, even though she's also a predator. But I didn't know about the transgender. I'm sorry, I can't remember the term. I didn't know that they got.
I heard tranny. I heard tranny, and so
right.
y'all gotta forgive my ignorance.
Whatever it is, if a man had the intention or he went with her to the room to have sex with her, then got drugged, robbed, and raped by another man or by a penis, whatever, then that is rape. That is rape. And there's no way that we can talk around. There's no way to talk around that and try and make it acceptable. There's no way to say she was in a bad situation and she was backed into a corner. If she was really just a robber, she would drug people and rob them. You know what I mean? She didn't have to take advantage of them sexually. Not to say that robbing them is right, but that is horrific.
Yeah.
And I'll say one thing, boys, that I always say. I still think that we all have to be mindful of going full-fledged on Cardi B because the white supremacist system is going to do that. We don't need to do it. I think that I was never vocal about get R. Kelly, throw him under the jail. I was never vocal about get Bill Cosby, throw him under the jail. I've just never been vocal in those things because I feel like what they did is wrong. And I feel like we need to have family systems or community systems or be on code about things and handle things ourselves rather than throw our own people to the wolves. So I always stand by that. And I always think that. And I've noticed now that the people who are really hammering in and going in on Cardi B and calling the Me Too, come get her, are Black people. There's no white people going after Cardi B. It's always us going after each other. And if I was white, I would love it. If I was a white supremacist, I would love it.
Interesting. Everybody, I'm talking to Nomalanga Moshali Moses, and we're talking about Cardi B and her confessions about raping and drugging men so that she could violate them. We definitely know that there's robbery involved. There's some indication that there was some sexual assault involved. Switching out the transvestite, making the man unconscious so that they can do whatever they want to do while he was asleep. And these were, unwitting participants in the process. Cardi B's tried to kind of cover her tracks. I don't know if that's worked so well. Do me a favor, if you are watching on YouTube or anywhere else, please take a second, stop right now, hit that thumbs up button. Please hit that thumbs up button. That's really, really important. Also, make sure you subscribe at drboycetv.com. That's drboycetv.com. This is the home of intelligent Black people. So if you're not Black and intelligent, then you probably need to get the fuck out. So anyway, so Noma, what I want to ask you is this. I want to ask you, I hear what you're saying about Cardi and Black people kind of going in on her. And I agree. I wasn't really sure, what to think. I remember when Cardi talked about it, and I heard what Cardi had to say. Cardi actually wrote out a long statement where she referenced hip hop culture and how hip hop culture allows people to rap about their past without consequences, and they can sell records and stuff like that. But the thing about it is, I remember Rick Ross, the rapper Rick Ross, actually had a lyric where he made reference to slipping a Molly or slipping a drug in a woman's drink so that he could have sex with her. And he did pay a price for that. He lost an endorsement deal definitely as a result of that. But even then, if that lyric were to come out now, like since that time, the Me Too movement wasn't in existence when that happened. So since that time with the Me Too movement, I think the consequences would have been greater. Right now, there are some people who would say that because she's a woman, that, you know, that those who support the Me Too movement aren't really going to support, or aren't going to really have much to say about it, largely because, you know, my argument has always been the Me Too movement has been all about taking down heterosexual males. It's not about taking down gay men. It's not about taking down women. There's not been one gay man who's been destroyed by the Me Too movement, not one woman who's been destroyed by the Me Too movement. Every victim of the Me Too movement has been a man. So the Me Too movement it's been a heterosexual man that I know of. So the Me Too movement to me feels very predatory in that regard. Predatory in the sense that, you know, we're going to steal, you know, due process. We're going to take that away from you. We're going to steal your rights, you know, as a free human being to defend yourself. And we're not going to require anybody to provide any proof. Anybody can step forward on an avalanche of allegations just to get money if they want to, and we're going to believe them because the person's female and you're not. I'm starting to see actually the other end of that though with Cardi B. It seems like now you're going to see with her people maybe stepping forward as victims of her and saying, look, you know, this happened to me. I slept with her. You know, she robbed me, etc. Do you think that there's sort of any kind of gender-based double standard that applies when you look at how the Me Too movement responds to a Cardi B versus how they might respond if Cardi B were a guy?
Of course, and I mean, I don't believe in the blurring of genders, and I think that it sounds silly when you say that, not to offend anybody, but it sounds silly to this day when a man says, I've been physically assaulted and abused by a woman for years and I stayed in the relationship and that kind of thing. Everybody's always kind of snickering under their breath and trying to keep a straight face and all this other stuff, because it's like, really, dude, I mean, come on, okay? You couldn't just knock her out with one punch, or you couldn't run faster than her. You see what I'm saying? So the double standard exists whether we like it or not, because the one thing that about how we were made as human beings is men are physically stronger than women. So to take a man and put him in the victim position and a woman in the predator position is already difficult for our minds to process. The Me Too movement, yes, I will agree with you. It did seem to have this thing. And the thing is, it seems more vicious and more firm when it comes to Black men, not just men, Black men. And even if it's not the Me Too movement, there's now a bigger movement of taking down men in general, but it does seem to be doing it to Black men disproportionately, because you hear a lot of stories and they kind of die out. But with R. Kelly, they got to take it all the way until he's in jail. With Bill Cosby, they got to take it all the way until he's in jail. With Michael Jackson, they got to dig him out of his grave to make sure that he's completely destroyed. So I think there's the two ways in which it has an imbalance. It's the gender one and the race one.
Everybody, make sure you hit the thumbs up button, hit the share, subscribe button, stuff like that. I'm speaking with Nomalanga Mushali Moses, and we're talking about Cardi B, the rapper, and her recent confession that she used to drug men so that she could rob them and violate them. You know, there's conversations about transvestites and people's buttholes hurting, and afterward, I mean, just crazy. I'm just being real. That's what was talked about.
That's what they said, yeah.
Yeah. So let me ask you about this, Nomalanga. So there was a guy who named Kevin Smith who came forward, and Kevin Smith is the first of what I think is going to be more than one person to say I was a victim of Cardi B. And now, on one hand, and you know, partly in Cardi's defense, you know, when you become rich and famous, you know, things kind of get amplified. People talk about their associations with you, and they're, you know, they may be using it for malicious purposes, which is why you have to investigate these sorts of things. But this guy, you know, his claim sounds very interesting to say the least. And I'm gonna read this to you guys. You guys can please feel free to share with what you think. His name is Kevin Smith, and Kevin Smith claims that Cardi B robbed him about 5 years ago, and that she stole his iPod Touch, his Louis Vuitton belt, and $850. Kevin said, I was in New York about 5 years ago training, and my trainer suggested that we go to a strip club. Normally, I would have turned him down. Yeah, okay. We all like to make that.
See, it's already sounding shady.
Right, I know, right? Like normally, I would have went to church in the library afterward, but this time I decided to go. So boom, we go to the strip club, and I meet Cardi. I'm feeling her and convinced her to come back to the room with me to have a drink. Now, mind you, I think he was engaged at the time, which, but then again, though, again, this goes back to when they talk about the women, you can't judge the victim. You can't blame the victim.
Right.
So,
but people do it anyway.
Right. People do it anyway. That's so true. But, so I just want people to sort of think and process this. If a woman's saying this, I was engaged and I was with a man I shouldn't have been with, and he raped me. You're not allowed to say, "Oh, you dirty hoe, you shouldn't have been sleeping with another man." You can say that kind of, but you still have to acknowledge the fact that she was raped, right? So let me just keep reading this to you. She says, "I'm feeling her and convinced her to come back to the room with me to have a drink. I'd been drinking already, so I had to piss. I slid to the bathroom and came back and finished off my drink." Big mistake, right? Because a lot of men don't realize that there are thousands of women out there that are predators that will drug your drink just like a man will drug your drink. And people in the hood, people in the city, tell me if you heard any of that, right? People that live in the hood kind of know, or that grew up in the real world kind of know to look out for that kind of thing, because they know that women can lie like men, women can be scandalous like men, women can be predatory like men. It's the naive ones who believe the political nonsense that believe that all predators are male, and that's just not true. Anybody who's been around the block knows that there are scandalous lying women that will lie on you in a second. But anyway, he says, last thing I remembered was she was twerking on me. He said, so that's the last thing you remember. She's twerking on him. The music was blasting, and that was it. He said the next morning, so he was knocked out until the next morning. Now, I don't know if they were twerking, if she's twerking on him in the room or twerking on him in the club. But he says the next morning, I saw a used condom on the floor. I pray to white Jesus and black Jesus that he was the one that used that condom, that it wasn't used on him. But he says, I saw a used condom on the floor, and then I noticed all the cash I had, which was about $850, my Louis Vuitton belt, and my iPod Touch was missing. I tried calling her several times, but I soon realized she gave me a Google Voice number. So this sounds like it not only was predatory, but premeditated predatory.
Yes.
That she did all that. Again, according to this person, this is all alleged. It's in that Bill Cosby space. But remember, everybody was listening to the Bill Cosby allegations like they were all true. So I don't know how people are going to process that, but that's the story that he told. What are your thoughts on that, Nomalanga?
Yeah, I do like that you pointed out that, when you said that he tried to change the story up a little bit, or kind of clean it up, like I don't normally do this, but I did do this. Then that he was engaged, that judgment kicks in. People start judging you, and the headline becomes, oh, you were engaged and you were going to the room with another woman. And the thing is, again, when it's reversed, apparently we're not allowed to say that. You're not allowed to point out the flaws in the story. Because I remember one year, Serena Williams got into so much trouble because there was this young girl who said that she went to a frat house, got totally drunk, and they took advantage of her or something. And Serena was like, well, what was she doing drunk at a frat house? And she got into so much trouble for that, because apparently you're not supposed to ask questions about why people did the things that they did. But to get back to the Cardi B story, there is going to be a judgment on the fact that he did take a stripper home, right? Or to his hotel. There's going to be a judgment by the fact about the fact that he did that while he was engaged to someone else. And then by the time that he says he was taken advantage of, people already judged him for the other things. So it waters down his victim story. But I think that what happened is he got robbed. In this story, the main thing is he got robbed, right? I think he had intention of maybe sleeping with her, and the extra thing, he got drugged and robbed. So she drugged him for the purpose of robbing him. So in this story, I'm not hearing rape. I'm just hearing that he got drugged and robbed.
Okay, so TC is saying that it's a fake story and it can't be proven. Well, I need evidence that it's fake, right? Like the question is, where's the burden of proof, right?
Believe the women no matter what.
Right. People are saying that he's lying, that he made it up. But when Bill Cosby had every woman with a 100-mile radius jumping onto a big lawsuit filed by Gloria Allred with their stories, I don't remember anybody questioning those stories. I don't remember anybody automatically assuming they were lying. So I would say to you, TC, unless you're a troll, if it's fake, show me where it's fake. Show proof that it's fake. So I would just like to see that. If that's the case, then that's the case. But we do know what's real. Here's what we know what's real. What we know that is real is came out of the mouth of Cardi B. We know that unless Cardi was making things up about her past, we know that it was 100% real that Cardi has said that she used to drug men so she could rob them. We know that Cardi B has also said that she has drugged men so they could be violated by a transvestite. So that part we know is not a hoax. It's not fake. And it again, given that rappers love to talk about keeping it real and keeping it honest and talking about their past and what they did in the hood and all this other stuff. Why would we not believe you if you are snitching on yourself? In fact, that's the dumbest thing rappers do anyway, is they snitch on themselves. They love to do that. I think there's a guy right now on trial for murders or something. And he killed somebody and then made a song about who he killed, or made a song about killing somebody and then killed him. It was something like that, allegedly, right? And so it's just kind of like, what, like, how dumb are we? Like, how dumb is the culture that we literally have trained ourselves to tell on ourselves? It's crazy to me. So Noma, I want to ask you this question.
Can I interject something on what you just said? The one thing that I want to also point out is a lot of the women who came out and said, yes, something happened to me as well, where Bill Cosby was concerned. Some of them retracted and said they were lying or that they were paid to say it and all this other stuff. And people keep ignoring that. And we're still applying the standard of if someone says this, then we just have to believe them. Then we have women who said, no, my parents pressured me to say this, or my whatever pressured me, or the money, or whatever it is. So we can't always just believe people.
Absolutely. And let me say this. Here, check this out, guys. I'm going to pull up on my screen, and Nomalanga, you can take a look at this. Did somebody else come into our?
I can't believe they're actually doing this.
Oh, hold on.
Even technology?
Let me turn this off.
In their software?
Okay, there we go. This is something I want to share with you guys. That's what happens when you pull up random websites. So check this out. Look at this title of this article. Y'all see this title? Bill Cosby. This is on ABC News now. This is not, bullshit media. Bill Cosby accuser admits concocting story for a memoir. Bill Cosby accuser admits concocting story.
Now that new bombshell from the Bill Cosby retrial.
Just pause that, because that's Robin Roberts apparently telling the world about the story and what happened. So, I mean, look at this. This is Janice Dickinson, admitted that she made up her story for her memoir. So did the media, how much did the media really want to talk about that? How much did they use that as evidence that Cosby, was an innocent guy or didn't deserve to go to prison? And so I'm not going to say that Cosby's an innocent guy. I'm just going to say that it's, that you can't come out here and say, oh yeah, this isn't true, or oh, this person made it up, or whatever, when we know for a fact that there were plenty of people who accused Cosby with no evidence. Nobody had any evidence. Most of the people did not file any kind of police report, nor did they tell any of their friends about the incident at the time that it happened. A lot of them, retracted their stories. Many of them had incredibly shady past as drug addicts, had hung out with Bill Cosby for years, bragged to their friends that they knew him, were going to his house voluntarily on a regular basis looking for drugs. So how are you going to tell me that you got drugged when your ass is a drug addict? Like, I don't understand that. How do we know the difference between when you took the drugs voluntarily versus when somebody forced you to take the drugs? You can't say, well, normally 99% of the time I get high on my own, but in this one particular instance, which I have no proof of, he gave me drugs against my will. Shut up. Just shut up. It's stupid. It's stupid. So with the Cardi B thing, going back to that, getting recentered on that again, I think that we should kind of just, look at this. I mean, I look at this and I compare it instantly to Bill Cosby. Again, but the problem though, the contradiction I have in my mind though, is that I don't feel that Cosby's punishment was just, because there wasn't any evidence, and for all the reasons I just mentioned above. Plus, he's an 81-year-old man. He ain't gonna hurt nobody, at 81 years old. He's 81 years old and blind. I mean, how many people he gonna chase down and rape at 81 years old and he's blind? At worst, it becomes cute at that age, right? A horny 81-year-old man. Most women laugh that off, right? They're like, oh, look at him. He's trying to, he's imagining using equipment that don't even work no more, right? But. So I think the contradiction for me is that because I believe Cosby was unjustly punished, I'm not running around saying I think Cardi B should be treated like Cosby, right? I don't think that's because I don't think that that's right. But when Cardi says that's my past and the past is not relevant anymore, it does not matter because it's my past because I did it, 3 years ago, right? Because it's my past, therefore it has no relevance to my present. Well, shit, if you can say that about something that she did in 2015, allegedly, or 2014, what do you have to say about things that Cosby allegedly did in 1974?
Right.
I mean, seriously, if that argument about the past being the past applies, for 3 years ago, why would it not apply for 30 years ago over shit that nobody can prove, nobody remembers, everybody's all old now? Like seriously, I mean, it's crazy to me. Norma, what are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, American life has dynamics, Bill Cosby's accusers had white women amongst them. So then it becomes the big black gorilla and the innocent, angelic white woman. And of course, the legal system in America is not going to let that go. We might eventually find out that a lot of Cardi B's victims were black men, like the one that you just read what he was saying, and nobody cares, right? Nobody's going to care. It's going to be like, well, whatever. And then it'll just blow over. And even if you find a white male that she did to, a white male is still not as protected by the legal system the way a white woman is. The person who gets protected the most by the legal system in America is the white woman. Like, don't touch her, don't rape her, don't anything her, That's what the Me Too movement got taken over by white women.
Mm-hmm. And the Me Too movement was started by a black woman,
right,
for young black girls. And it is crazy how you talk about cultural appropriation and all these other terms that we have, like culture vultures and all that. I mean, the Me Too movement is a perfect example of that. I mean, they literally just came in and hijacked it. And they got Tarana Burke out here looking stupid, looking as dumb as Oprah, trying to, like literally being an asset, trying to destroy black men. And I don't think Tarana Burke intended on being that person. I think Tarana Burke really, Oprah, that's another story. But Tarana Burke, I don't think she wanted to be, part of that ridiculous agenda. I think she really wanted to do the right thing. But, white supremacy divides us. It splits us in half. And me as a person who normally, under most circumstances, would have supported everything that she was doing, now I can't support you because you're letting them use your righteous movement as a tool and a weapon for the destruction of the black male. And I ain't stupid. I'm not dumb enough to support something that is directly against the interests of people who look like me. I'm not gonna,
right.
I'm not gonna vote for any politician who says I believe in the Me Too movement. I won't, because the Me Too movement is they got get out of jail free cards. That's the get prison for life free card for black men. Like seriously, so. Anyway, let me ask the last question. So, Noma, Cardi B says that part of the reason everybody. By the way, before I ask the last question, please hit the thumbs up button. Please hit the thumbs up button, share button, subscribe button. I'm talking to Nomalanga Mushali Moses. Make sure you go look her up. Look up Nomalanga on Facebook, Nomalanga on YouTube and Instagram and stuff like that, and you can find Nomalanga. Everybody go follow her, please. She's a brilliant black woman, amazing, extraordinary person that I worked with for many years. Also. On Monday night, I wanted you guys to know I'm doing a seminar on an economic model that should replace your family's college savings plan. So if you have children, or if you're thinking about long-term wealth building or building a family bank, I put together something called the BEEP model, BEEEP. It's the word BEEP with 3 E's instead of 2. And basically it stands for Black Economic and Educational Excellence Plan. And basically this plan replaces the college savings plan and helps you avoid all the debt that is being sucked out of black families and ruining black families in terms of wealth. It actually gives your child far more options in terms of what they can do. And so it's something I put together that I know is going to work. So check it out. If you want to know more about the lecture, go to drboyceseminars.com. That's drboyceseminars.com. So make sure you go there and also hit the thumbs up button. So Noma, let me ask you this question. So one thing that Cardi B references when she talks about why she was setting men up for robbery and sexual violation. One thing she mentions is that she did what she had to do. That, you know, because she was struggling financially, she had to go and, you know, twerk on a guy, drug his drink, and steal his Louis Vuitton belt and his iPod Touch and his $850. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, you know, that's a tough one, Boyce, because there's so many moving parts when it comes to a Black woman struggling in America specifically, right? Because there are people who are perpetually poor and they pass it on from generation to generation to generation. And you have to do something really drastic. And I'm not saying you should go and rob people, right? But you have to do something really drastic to get yourself out of that that cycle, right? So I can definitely appreciate that she probably felt like she was in a desperate position and didn't know how to get out of it. And the thing is, she actually did manage to get out of it. You know, she's now some kind of a celebrity making big money and she's famous and all this other stuff. You know, I stand for women's empowerment as long as that empowerment is not destructive to our families and our men, right? And there are many ways that we can empower ourselves without destroying other people. So that was not the only option she had. I actually saw a tweet today that said, Cardi B, if you felt like you were backed into a corner, A, you could have gone back to school. B, you could have gotten a job. C, you could have married richer. And D, you could have robbed people, and you chose D, you know? Mm-hmm. So the point was she had many other options. That wasn't her only option.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm going to say that I agree. I call bullshit on that. I mean, you know, because here's the thing, right? If you go down that slippery slope of letting somebody tell you the reason I victimized someone else and should evade punishment for my crime is because I was having a hard time, or I have a mental illness, well then shit, then let R. Kelly go. Because y'all know R. Kelly. Tell me if you think that R. Kelly might have a mental illness. Raise your hand if you think R. Kelly has a mental illness, right? But we ain't gonna let R. Kelly go.
Illness, he was also a victim of what he's accused of.
Exactly. R. Kelly was right. He was molested. So he could say, well, I was molested. So of course I'm going to go molest, or no, well, not molest. You said child, he's not a pedophile or child molester.
Right.
But you know what I mean.
Sexual predator.
Right,
yeah.
right. You know, so there are, if you go to any prison in any state that any of you guys live in, and some of y'all live in other countries, I'm sure you can go to the prisons there too. You go there and you do a mental health assessment, you will probably find that the rate of mental illness amongst the inmates is incredibly high. If you go there and you do an assessment of poverty, how you ask the guys or the women in prison, how many of y'all were having a hard time economically before you got to prison? How many of y'all were as poor as Cardi B was when she was out robbing and drugging men? There, you're gonna get a whole bunch of hands up in the room. If I was to ask people in this room, how many of you have ever had a hard time financially? Raise your hand. Somebody say yes if you've had a hard time financially in your life. Raise your hand. I'm gonna raise my hand, Nomalanga, because I had a hard time.
Yeah, we've all had a hard time at some point.
Yeah, I remember. I remember going to McDonald's and I could not get a value meal, and I was hungry, and I guess according to the Cardi logic, I could have went and pulled out a gun and shot somebody and taken their money and bought me a cheeseburger, because it's excused now because I was hungry and I didn't have any money, right? Like, so if we go down that slope, then you're going to have a lot of problems with that, right? You got to let a whole lot of people out of prison, right? But also I think there's something about, the power that white women have. And then some like Black feminists try to claim some of this power too. And what that power kind of does is it allows you to take any horrible thing you might do to another person and you can explain it away. And people will buy your explanation. As a Black man, I don't have that luxury. I could be going through the worst life ever. I could have been raped, molested, beat up, had my everything stolen, poor as hell, hungry as hell. But if I commit a crime, I'm going to jail. Ain't nobody gonna hear my excuse. No one will care, right? But if I'm a white woman, or let's say, and maybe a lot of women in general, I could shoot my husband in the testicles and say, he beat me and he cheated on me and he was emotionally abusive. Or I could even take the beating part out of it and just say he was emotionally abusive and he yelled at me all the time. So I shot him in his balls and now his penis doesn't work. And people would say, oh, girl, but you had to do it. You had to do it. Right. But the thing is, men don't have that privilege. Like, there's nothing I could tell anybody in this room about anything that Alicia could ever do to me that would justify me running up and punching her in the face or trying to kill her or breaking her arm or whatever it is, right? Nothing, right? So I think that, that really, I think she's kind of playing the gender card. She's playing the poor, woe is me kind of card. And I'm just not going for that. I think that if she, I think if I, honestly, if I were Cardi, first thing I would probably do if I were her advisor and I were her is I would just stop talking so much, like just, but those videos are out there. It is what it is. She built her brand on keeping it real. Now you just got to keep it, keep on keeping it real. I think she's going to have to deal with a lot of victims coming forward to get money. She's going to have to deal with some public backlash, but not as much as she would get if she were a man. I think that if Cardi continues to move forward, keeps making good music, and keeps doing what she's doing, I think that she's going to be okay. I don't really think there are going to be any heavy long-term consequences. What do you think?
I think she's going to be fine because a lot of her victims are not going to be the prize white woman. That's really the bottom line. Men can keep coming out and coming out and coming out. I mean, Boyce, you live in Chicago and Black men die of gun violence. I don't know how often we hear about the statistics so much. Nobody really cares. But the minute that they shoot a white man or a white woman, then something's going to be done. But as long as it's, the people that the American justice system doesn't care about, then nobody really cares. She'll be fine. Cardi B will be fine. Like I said, the noise that I hear is coming from us Black people. Nobody else is talking. Nobody else cares.
Well, what people in Chicago are laughing about right now is actually Jussie Smollett. When his charges were dropped, the mayor was on TV saying, "This is an outrage. This is a travesty of justice. This is unbelievable," right? And we ain't never seen the mayor get that outraged over Black people getting shot up in his own city. Like, there are so many Black people. I'm talking about hundreds, maybe thousands of Black people who've been murdered on his watch, and he's never said a word. But
murdered by the police, and the police got off.
Yeah, the police. Well, Rahm Emanuel he used that very system allegedly to cover up the murder of Laquan McDonald so that Black people would still support him in the election because he was connected to Obama. Because but if Black people had known that what they knew about Laquan McDonald's murder at the time, he wouldn't have gotten reelected. So basically, it's just really funny to kind of see that. And so I think you're right. I think that, there's not enough outrage for what's happening to Black people or Black men. I'm hoping to be one of the people that helps to change that. That's why I'm on this platform. I'm deviating from, people say all the time, they say, well, Boyce, why are you should be talking about financial stuff all the time. And even my manager says, well, that's a little safer and you're not going to get as much controversy. But I'm like, no, I am a prominent Black man, whatever that means, and a scholar and a thinker. And I have a platform. I'm going to use that platform to defend my people. I'm going to speak on that stuff that other people won't talk about, that mainstream media is going to overlook. So Oprah is going to come attacking Black men. Well, guess what? I'm going to attack Oprah. It might not mean shit. It might be a scratch on her big fat pinky toe, but it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, you can't go out here acting like Black male lives don't matter, because they do matter, and they have to start mattering with us. So everybody who's watching, I want to say thank you all for being a part of this. Because your participation, when you share the video, when you push it out there and you share the message and start the conversations, that allows us to have our voice in the conversation, in the discussion. Noma, I'll let you get the last word. What are your closing thoughts on this?
Like I said with the Cardi B story, I think that one of the things that we always have to be mindful of is conflating issues. Like I said, the whole thing with the men saying that, see, I'm already giggling and I'm sorry, with the men saying their buttholes were hurting the next day, that was new to me when I heard it today. But up until then, I felt like, why are people so outraged and trying to compare a woman robbing men, which I'm not saying she should do, but why are they comparing that to a woman being violently raped? Those are two very different things.
Yeah, those are different things. But the problem, here's the issue, right? How can I say this? There are about 100 things that men can have their lives ruined for. that women don't typically do. You know, the worst thing a woman will do to you usually isn't to put something, you know, to have sex with you against your will, because women don't have to work for sex as hard as men do. Like, you know what I mean? It's a different process for women, right?
And they're also not as strong as you.
They're not as what?
Most of the time. They're not as strong as you most of the time.
That is true. That is true. But you know, so I think the question I always ask is that I said, we know that men can be taken down for a lot of different forms of sex, not just rape and sexual assault, but you have, you know, groping, you have harassment, and really it's to the point where if you are a powerful man in a corporation and you have sex with a woman who is not as powerful as you, there are people who put that in the same category as rape. Or as sexual. So they call that, they literally label that as predatory behavior, which is really a reflection of how sick white society has become, that they believe that a man's a predator because, you know, a less powerful woman is attracted to him and he chooses to have sex with her. They almost act like sex is illegal unless you're gay, unless, you know, whatever, right? Or unless you're a woman.
She chose to. She consented to it too.
Exactly. If she consented to it, then it's fine in my book. If she asked for it, or, you know, like because women can hit on men too. We've seen this, right? If she asked him or propositioned him, then there's nothing wrong. You can't convince me that that man is a predator if the woman is asking for sex and he delivers the package, right? So I know that sounds kind of graphic, but y'all get the point. Tell me if you agree. Tell me if you guys agree with this. I'm talking crazy here. You know,
I do have to point out one thing. There is the issue of if I'm subordinate to a man and he makes advances towards me, I might just go along with it because I'm subordinate to him and I don't want to lose my job. I don't want to fall out of favor with him. And that's where the problem is, that sometimes my consent is not really consent because I felt backed into a corner. So there's that issue, right?
That is certainly an issue. Now, here's the counter issue to that, right? I've seen men who felt backed into a corner as well. Let's say there's a woman who offers you sex and you start having sex with her because she offered to have sex with you, right? So you didn't proposition her, she came to you. This is a case that's going on with a Hollywood executive right now. This actress wanted to be successful, so she found a powerful man and made herself available to that man, and he accepted what she had to offer. So then what she did was she said that because I'm having sex with you, I expect this and this and this and this, right? And basically it got to the point where she was literally texting him and saying, you know, we're having this sexual relationship and you're not delivering on your end of the bargain. Basically saying you're not paying, you know, pay up, bitch. You know, so she's then having a double threat on him. The double threat is one, that if you don't give me what I want, I'm gonna stop sleeping with you. You're gonna be denied all the affection that I've given you. This love, it might be fake love, but it's still, maybe he's an older guy, felt like, you know, feeling himself, felt like she really cared about him. So she's threatening to steal the affection back. Two, she's threatening to expose him as a predator when she made the original advance. So I will say that, you know, people don't look at it from the other direction. The highway has 2 lanes. The highway has 2 lanes and they go in opposite directions. The sexual highway is not a one-way street. And so if we're gonna say that a woman can claim and to destroy a man's life, destroy his life, you're talking about people's lives here, like their reputation, stuff they worked for 30 years. If a woman can destroy a man's life by saying, look, he offered me sex and I only said yes because I was afraid I was going to lose money, right? Then a man should be able to say, she offered me sex and I gave her money, and the only reason I gave her money is because I thought I was going to lose sex. I thought I was going to lose affection. And even worse, though, is that I also knew that in this society, she has advantages as a woman that I'll never have as a man, where she can go out and rewrite history and tell a story that makes me look like something that I am not. right? So I'm
devil's advocate.
talking about that side of the conversation so much.
I'll be a devil's advocate for a little bit. I think men have to know that the risk is bigger on their end. That's just what they live with. It's kind of like with promiscuity. If you're going to be promiscuous and a man is being promiscuous and a woman is being promiscuous, he's never going to get pregnant and get settled with a baby. And he can run away from the baby, but you can't, which is, I suspect why the child support system then became so, again, it became so bad that it was oppressing men, is because they tried to balance that out, right? That he can run away and do whatever he wants and you're kind of stuck with a baby that you were just trying to be promiscuous and now you have a baby. So women at some point knew that if you're going to sleep with people, he might make you pregnant and then he's free and you're not, right? So the same thing applies here is, if you're in that situation, you're a powerful man, you have a lot to lose, right? You also know that you can't turn around and say she made me uncomfortable and that's why I slept with her, but she could say that and she can destroy your whole life. So the burden is not going to be equal. It just isn't.
Well, I do agree with you, and I think those realities certainly apply. And I'm not going to I'm not going to dispute any of that, because I think generally speaking, people have to be careful with sex, and I don't think as a society we're trained to be careful. I think that we're trained to just do whatever. Like somebody mentions the rapper Drake. Like I think Drake, you're super world famous, and I think he got this lady pregnant who's like a porn star. Like you're really, dude, you're having unprotected sex with a porn star. I want to call the Centers for Disease Control on your ass, because that's not healthy. That's not smart. That's not wise. But then again, that's his life. I don't spend much time worrying about what another man does with his penis, as long as it ain't nowhere near me. So anyway, with that said, though,
he also has 18 years of child support now.
Yeah, 18 years of child support. And the thing is, because he's got so much money, they're gonna push for as much as they can. When you get money, people will try to take it. Just be prepared for that. All right, so Nomalanga, I saw somebody made a comment that said that African lady is gorgeous. So it looks like you've got admirers out here and fans. Where can people follow you? Like, do you have a YouTube channel? You have what's
I do have a YouTube channel. It's under my name, Nomalanga Sally Moses.
Okay, and I'm going to type that in so everybody can kind of see it. And if you just search for Nomalanga, she'll come up. But I'm going to type this in, how to spell her name, so everybody has it. And also, please hit the thumbs up button if you haven't done that yet. Please hit the thumbs up button. Also, I want you guys to know that at 2 o'clock today, 2 o'clock Eastern today on the 28th, if you're watching live, I'm going to be on at 2 p.m. or actually 2:15-ish with Dr. Claude Anderson. We're going to do a Powernomics conversation, so you don't want to miss that. Make sure you come back to drboycetv.com to check that out. We'll also go live on Facebook on the Dr. Boyce Watkins Facebook page. Secondly, we on Monday night, we're doing a lecture on why the college savings fund is something that needs to be a thing of the past. I'm proposing something different, which is a BEEP, B-E-E-P, except there's 3 E's instead of 2. So the word BEEP, and it's a Black Economic and Educational Excellence plan for your child. And this gives you not just what a college savings fund would give you, but actually gives the child a lot more options, and also deals with some of the problems that we're running into as a community, which is one, our wealth is being depleted by too much college debt. Half of all Black college graduates have defaulted on their student loans. As a reason for that. 2, when you achieve talent and skill, most of our kids can't get a job that lets them execute their talent and skill. And I give you a plan to kind of work around that. So you don't want to miss that. If you want to check out the lecture and sign up to join us, go to drboyceseminars.com. That's drboyceseminars.com. And last but not least, Nomalanga actually teaches an excellent class on how to quit your job. She was struggling. She hated her job. She was working with a bunch of racist people, and also her kids were going through stuff at school. And so she created a whole program on how she was actually able to quit her job and homeschool her kids. And it's been happily ever after ever since. And so if you want to know more about that program, go to idon'twantaboss.com. That's idon'twantaboss.com. So feel free to type that in if you can, so other people can see it. idon'twantaboss.com. So hit the thumbs up button one more time. Make sure you do that before you go. And I'll see you guys at 2 o'clock when Dr. Claude Anderson comes in. And I want to say thank you, Nomalanga, for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you, boys. I just wanted to add one more thing, that we also have the Nomalanga show at Fly Nubian Queen. We also have the Queen's Roundtable every Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, every Wednesday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and that's at Fly Nubian Queen Facebook page.
How could I forget that? How could I forget the Fly Nubian Queen? So if yes, go look up Fly Nubian Queen on Facebook, and you can see the Nomalanga show on the Fly Nubian Queen Facebook page. Also, they do a Queen's Roundtable every week. And so if you are interested in what Black women have to say, which we should all be interested in that, and these are real women, these are not those fake women that you see on TV. These are real women from diverse backgrounds who give intelligent conversations that are counter to the narrative that you see in BS mainstream media. You can go to check out Fly Nubian Queen on Facebook. So make sure you do that. So thank you, Noma, and thank you for correcting me. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Every smart Black man should know the value of being corrected by a smart Black woman. So I'll see you guys in an hour with Dr. Anderson. And Noma, you have a good day. And
Thank you. It was very nice seeing you.
Same here. Bye-bye.